This is the Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. NCAA women's basketball in a Saturday matinee special. A couple of 7-2 teams squaring off from the Marriott Center in Provo. It's Boise State out of the Mountain West taking on BYU representing the Big 12. Lights off for the starting lineups. Wherever and however you're connected, great to have you with us alongside the always fabulous Kristen Kozlowski. I'm Spencer Linton. Now this is a unique matchup for a number of reasons. Not only do you have the regional rivalry ties, Chris, we're talking about one team that features the nation's leading rebounder, and the other team has the number 2 shot blocker in the nation as well. So we're going to see some real strength and defensive prowess in both of these teams. Two teams very good in their interior with the rebounding and the blocks, as you mentioned, Spencer. They shoot the 3-ball well as well. Top 6 in the nation in 3-point field goal percent. This is going to be an exciting one. The matchup is so fun because it's so similar. Players to watch. We begin on the Boise State side, and we'll do so with the aforementioned shot blocker, Abby Muse, who utilizes her length in the post to cause opposing offenses a ton of havoc. At 6'3", she's long, athletic, a true post player for the Broncos. She was the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. Really dictates the defense for this Broncos team. Excellent in her timing and rotation inside. And on the BYU side, Lauren Gustin, the queen of rebounding in college basketball last year and so far this year. But while we put so much emphasis on her rebounding, she's a very complete player, Kristen. She's scoring the basketball at a high rate, very efficient inside for this BYU team. 6 20-20 games where she's put up at least 20 points, pulled down 20 rebounds. This is a player that's playing very consistent right now. It's going to be interesting how Boise State tries to slow her down inside. Well, BYU could certainly use a big game from Lauren Gustin because they're going to be without a key piece, not just today, but the remainder of the season. For more on that, we join the third member of our broadcast team today, Brett Hammer.
Amber Whiting told me this week that returning all-conference guard Nani Falatea is no longer with the program, and they will be without her all season, meaning they'll rely more heavily on Kaylee Wilson and Amari Whiting. And Amber Whiting is really excited. She said they are each other's best strengths because when Amari is going to drive, if they try to stop her, she'll kick it to Wilson, and Wilson will drill it. Spencer?
Thank you, Brett. And that has been quite literally the case for most of the games this season, is Kaylee Wilson taking and making the shot. 55% shooter from the three-point line. Coming off her worst shooting performance in BYU's win against Utah State earlier this week. And so for the first time, she's happened to check her confidence because the first 7 games were off the charts good for Woolston and BYU. Opening tip between the Broncos and Cougars. It is won by Abby Muse, and Boise State in their road blues with the orange trim will control BYU in their new ice gray uniforms with the royal blue trim. BYU's Emma Calvert, 6'4", gets the start in this one, a better matchup inside. And Coach Whiting wants to utilize the size in this game, particularly with this Boise State team that plays the 2 true posts. There is an early rebound for Emma Calvert. BYU looking for the first points of the game. Woolston trying to work around the screen from Gustin, not much there. Now Kaylee Smiler cycles to Whiting. They want Gustin inside and have her. Here's the double team with Muse. Gustin in some trouble, steps through the double team to find Wilson. 3 on the shot clock. Smiler with 2 and 1 has to force up a shot, and that misses off to the right side. Good defensive stop by Boise State. And that double team very effective, pushing there all the way to that short corner, and Gustin really didn't have an outlet to kick it to. Shot is missed by Trista Hull as you look at the Boise State starting 5 on your screen right now. Abby Muse is the player to watch. That ball is knocked out of bounds. No. It is off of Amari Whiting, and an early turnover by BYU gifts the ball back to the Broncos. BYU young in their backcourt with Coach Whiting's daughter, Amari Whiting, running the show at the point guard position, and Kaylee Wilson, also a true freshman, 6th in the country in 3-point field goal percent. That's off that game that you mentioned where she really didn't shoot the ball well like we've seen all season. She was just 1 for 4 from distance against Utah State. Here is Trista Hull holding, gives back to Maya Hansen. Hansen, that left elbow, Abby Muse. That's a backdoor cut, and that ball is thrown back out near half court. Hull, the handoff to Naro, back to Hull with 6 on the shot clock, short corner right. That shot misses everything, and Emma Calvert shields off Muse for another rebound.
A couple rebounds early for Calvert, utilizing that size and the box out, and it's so effective to have her in there with Gustin. They've really developed that chemistry as well to play together inside.
Gustin, 21 points, 21 rebounds in that win over Utah State. Whiting terminated her dribble, now has to go to Calvert. Again, under 10 seconds on the shot clock. Boise State making BYU work for everything. Gustin there trying to beat the double team. The quick fire shot is a little too shallow off the glass, and another stop for the Broncos.
Krista Hull, 6'2", Abby Muse, 6'3". They're going to try to utilize their length and make Gustin score over them, and there's Hull. Big time shot. This is exactly what the Broncos need, is more offense out of their post in this game. They really only have one player that averages double figures, but they need an inside presence.
The double team effective there as the lob pass is cut out on the inside, and in transition, Boise State gives it back on a BYU steal. Woolston in transition will step into a three, and I'd say the confidence is back for Kaylee Woolston. The Cougars up by 1.
Coach Whiting told us that she called her short after that game against Utah State and said, hey, we're not going to think about those missed shots. We want you to continue to shoot. We need you to shoot. We need your three-point presence out there on the court.
Here is Natalie Pasco. Pasco has her shot blocked out of bounds, and it's Kaylee Smiler. If you've never seen Kaylee Smiler play basketball, you should know that while she is undersized, she is a defensive pest and blocks a lot of shots, as we take a look at Woolston's three going.
And really just kind of lulled Maya Hansen to sleep. But as you mentioned, Kaylee Smiler, she's already got 10 blocks on the season, make that 11 on the last one. But right there, the little sweet spot again for Boise State. And there's Pasco, as we mentioned, just the only player averaging double figures coming into this game. She averages just over 14 points per game.
Mari Whiting to Woolston. Cougars rework their spacing on the floor. There's the lob pass, too strong from Smiler, but it's knocked out of bounds as Maya Hansen was coming over on the weak side.
That rotation has to be there for Coach Gordy Presnell. It's so crucial to what they do to slow Gustin down and make sure that they can't get that lob pass inside that BYU loves to do.
Coach Presnell in his 19th season, 341 victories. Woolston spinning on the baseline. Leaves the layup short, a great move, just didn't finish. And Lauren Gustin can't secure the offensive rebound, knocks it out of bounds. It's Boise State basketball. 6:19 to play in the first quarter. Broncos with a 4-3 lead. As you take a look at the nation's leading rebounder, there's Amber Whiting, the head coach at BYU in her second season. And 23-19 overall, thanks to a 7-2 start, just like the Broncos have this season. 7 wins and 2 losses. Little hook shot pass, back to Muse. And a good play by Natalie Pasco, who earns the assist to hit Abby Muse.
And they're executing beautifully right there, just under the free throw line in the sweet spot in the middle of the key. What a pass from Emma Calvert. That had to be quick, and it had to be right on the bottom of the backboard corner so she could go and get that. Beautiful job from Calvert.
Had an assist to Emma Calvert's stat line early in this game. 6-5, Broncos still in front by 1. Naro. It's hard off the glass. Muse tried to tap the rebound out, but it ends up in the hands of Smiler and BYU. Woolston has a lane, and she finds it. Kaylee Woolston, little head and shoulder fake out on the arc. And almost a clear path to the hoop for the layup, 7-6 BYU.
Yeah, she's so tough to guard because of her ability to knock down at a high rate on the outside, but then also put the ball on the floor as we saw there and get to the rim.
Trista Hull hits the deck trying to set a screen. Amari Whiting ran through it and is going to be charged with a personal foul.
You see running her off the three, and then 2 defenders just allowing her to get right to the rim. That's not going to make Gordy Presnell happy. When you're getting back transition D, you got to stop in the paint and make sure that you're protecting the paint first.
Pasco, little floater, is left short. Smiler with the rebound ahead to Woolston. Gustin running the floor, corrals the pass, and gets the friendly bounce. Lauren Gustin rewarded for her hustle down the floor.
She loves the lob, but she also loves to run rim to rim and outwork you in transition.
Muse, good move around Emma Calvert. Size on size right there, and Muse with the advantage.
He's showcasing some of that ball handling skills, and she'll have that advantage if she can be calm and keep her body control. Is a nice move from Smiler, going against a bigger Muse in size.
Well, and that's something that Coach Presnell and his staff talked about, is we're trying to stay on our feet. We can't bite on every ball fake, and Smiler misses the layup, but that's something that the Broncos have really tried to emphasize this week, is stay down on your feet, don't jump at everything.
And last meeting a season ago, they did jump at everything, and that's how Gustin got 24 points and 17 rebounds. He said they were jumping way too much.
Calvert with another rebound off the long jumper miss from Hull. BYU in front by 1, just over 6 minutes into the game. Skip pass from Smiler to Lauren Davenport, who's into the game for the first time, and what a beautiful bounce pass in a tight space in the lane to find Gustin for another 2. 6 points for Lauren Gustin.
BYU's assisted 4 out of their 5 made field goals. It's the ball movement getting easier looks at the basket.
Some recovery defense knocks the ball out of the hands of Danny Baez. There's Gustin from Davenport to Calvert. 15-foot jumper from the right corner is no good, and the Broncos will look to now cut into a 3-point BYU lead. Hull hits the floor once again. She's been battling early, setting screens, and this time tangled up with Emma Calvert, who draws the foul.
Calvert, a little bit of a swim move to try and get position on the 3-quarter defensively, and just pushed her to the ground. This is where Calvert has to be careful. She can't afford to get in foul trouble. Her and Gustin, they are short on depth in terms of the post.
Another look at Davenport's assist to Gustin. We'll be back with more NCAA women's basketball on the Big 12 Now right after this. A Saturday matinee of NCAA women's basketball on ESPN+. This is the Big 12 Now. 7-2 Boise State, 7-2 BYU. These teams play a very similar physical style of basketball, defensive-minded. A lot of block shots, a lot of rebounds expected. And at the start of this game is any indication, we're in for a great basketball game between these two squads. 11-8 BYU, 3:17 to play. And let's check in with our sideline reporter, Brett Hammer.
In talking with Boise State staff this week, one of the things they noticed watching the Utah State game is how aggressive this BYU team is, and they told me they want to use that aggression against them, and you notice that in those 2 fouls there in the first quarter.
Certainly aggressive is a good word for that, as Bays misfires on an airballed 3-pointer. So BYU with the 3-point lead and the basketball. They go right to Gustin, who went to the glass against Boise State defense and unable to score.
Elodie Lalott in the game, 6'2", also big presence inside, and so she's going to have that task when she comes in to be physical with Gustin in there.
And an offensive foul called on Boise State.
Alyssa Christensen moving on the screen. This Boise State team has some good size. I mean, multiple players over 6'2" in there. The coaches for Boise State tell us that, as we mentioned those fouls, that they really want to make Gustin pay. She plays 35 minutes a game and try to get her in some foul trouble early. She does not have a foul yet in this game. She's very good moving her body, good body control.
Turnover by Whiting. Now grants Boise State possession and a chance again to cut into the BYU lead. Lalott working on Gustin, good position. And she's too strong off the glass. Rebounded by Davenport. Whiting. Cross-court pass to Smiler. Gustin is left wide open in transition, but she can't finish the layup. Opportunity miss for BYU. And a little bit of a frustrating sequence for Gustin, who did everything right except make the bunny.
Lauren Gustin is a player that was recruited by Coach Gordy Presnell. She was on campus. He never did offer her a scholarship, which is crazy that he says now is a bit of a regret for him, because didn't know how good she was going to be at the time, and most coaches thought she was a little undersized at 6'1" coming out of high school. Just a tremendous player in what she's able to do, and a big part of what Gustin does, she's a workhorse. She never takes a play off, understands angles, understands where that ball is going to come off the rim. And against Boise State last year, she had 24 points, 17 rebounds. Something I'm sure this Boise State team wants to eliminate and reduce those numbers in this one.
Three is up and perfect from Maya Hansen.
Now Hansen, a player for the Broncos, had 31 against BYU last year. Unfortunately, after that, soon after, injured her PCL.
Gustin, good pump fake. Lalott bought it and fouled Gustin, trying to recover as we take one more look at the deep three from Hansen.
Hansen, very capable three-point shooter. She's averaging 50% from distance coming in. As we mentioned, that 31 points a season ago. The freshman class that Coach Presnell had last year, now sophomores, much more mature, but they got a lot of playing time last year, and he had said numerous times, we did not finish preseason how we needed to get ourselves into postseason play. It did not pay off when they couldn't win some close games in preseason. They've done a much better job here in this preseason, but they got to take care of games to help themselves when it comes to postseason play.
Lauren Gustin makes both free throws, and that's a good sign for her. Just a 44% free throw shooter coming into today's game. Really struggled from the charity stripe in BYU's win over Utah State. Hansen, a little backdoor cut, but that rims out. Woolston will push for BYU, has Whiting to her right. Whiting bounces inside to Rose Bubakar. Bubakar wanted contact and a foul. Does not get it as Alyssa Christensen was defending. Hansen.
Danny Bayes going down on that contact as well. The official has no doubt been calling it consistent and allowing the physicality to play on. When you're a player, you love to be able to play through that physicality.
Bayes got the angle, beat the defense down the baseline and scores it off the glass. 13 all, 30 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Bayes, one of those sophomores that as a freshman last year, she started 30 of 31 games, so got a lot of experience and growth.
Davenport with the spin and score. Lauren Davenport making an impact off the bench for Amber Whiting's squad.
Excellent footwork and a good read. She just had a one-on-one opportunity, a little bit of an isolation.
Whiting nearly had the steal on Maya Hansen. Offensive rebound, the putback no good, and Emma Calvert will add another rebound to her first quarter stat line. BYU will take a 2-point lead out of the first frame, 15-13. It's a Mountain West Big 12 showdown. Regional rivals collide as we continue our Saturday NCAA Women's Basketball Showcase. This is the Big 12 Now on ESPN+. We're back after this. (15-13) BYU leading Boise State as we open up the second quarter at the Marriott Center in Provo. Alongside Kristen Kozlowski, I'm Spencer Linton. Brett Hammer is our sideline reporter. Great to have you with us for a very evenly matched first quarter and straight up a game we expect to go right down to the wire. BYU basketball to begin. As you look at Lauren Gustin, 8 points in the first quarter, and I say only 2 rebounds. After going 21-21 against Utah State. She averages almost 17 boards a game.
I'll tell you, give a lot of credit to Boise State in executing, making sure they mark her when that shot goes up, putting body on her, and they're throwing a couple different players at her. That's a big-time shot.
Kaylee Smiler knocks down a 3. The second three-point make for the Cougars.
Smiler averages 54% from distance. Her and Woolston, the top 3-point shooters for this BYU team.
Calvert secures her 5th rebound already. Gustin again running the floor, and that's been problematic for Boise State. Transition defense, as Gustin has now beaten them down the floor for a 3rd time. She's made 2 layups there, and she's already into double-figure scoring.
Big advantage on the break because she's such a workhorse. She runs rim to rim, and BYU passes the ball well, keeps their head up to find her.
Muse, the putback. And a good follow by Abby Muse as she draws a trip to the free throw line for 2 shots. With the first free throws attempted by Boise State in today's game, Kaylee Smiler knocking down a 3. And Smiler is a player that, these are the words of Coach Amber Whiting, quote, I don't ever have to worry about her playing hard. As a coach, that's really nice. I don't ever need to coach her effort or energy or buy-in. She's all in.
She is the glue player for this BYU team, the unsung hero in my mind, where she's not talked about enough for what she does defensively and how disruptive she is, always guarding the toughest offensive assignment. And it works, right? I mean, you've got the elite shooter in Woolston, you got the inside presence with Gustin and Calvert, and Smiler just does all that dirty work.
Whiting's three, no good. And rebounded by Tatum Thompson. There's Mary Kay Nara. Pass deflected from Bays, but it ends up in the hands of Thompson. Now a handoff. Lindsay Lavrovich. And Thompson will step into a three. That misses off the front of the rim. Whiting ahead to Smiler. Calvert straight away.
This Boise State team, really good three-point shooting team, and I thought early they did a good job in that first quarter frame to get to the rim on the back cuts or off the dribble penetration. Can't shy away from that.
Calvert does a good job to keep that off the deflected pass. Gustin, well, it wasn't the prettiest offensive set for BYU. Passes deflected, all types of hands in there, but Gustin still scores, and she's got 12 points.
Bit of a hot potato possession for BYU, but Gustin finally lands into her hands somehow, and she strong wills that up on the glass.
And Hughes fires that pass over the head of Naro and out of bounds. And Coach Presnell is really upset after that turnover as the frustration mounts for Boise State. BYU has pushed their lead up to 8. 7:45 to play in the second quarter. We're back with more NCAA Women's Hoops after this. BYU leads Boise State 22-14, 7:45 to play in the second quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to feast your eyes upon something that I have long waited to do here. And that is a throwback to when Kristen Kozlowski was a star out of Viewmont High School, started her college career at Boise State, and then transferred to BYU. You've played on both sides of this matchup.
Both sides. Can you believe that? And that is an old school photo. Only black and white back then. Hey,
it wasn't that long ago.
I was a Bronco and I was a Cougar. I loved my time at Boise State and just enjoyed every minute of it. And it just worked out better to be back here at BYU with Coach Judkins. And so did both. A lot of respect for both of these programs. And it's a really fun matchup just because obviously the territory and just some of the rivalry matchups we had in the past, but two very similar teams, and we're seeing it on the stats as you go down the stats. Other than BYU shooting at a higher clip percentage-wise, very similar in rebounding, very similar what we've done with assists and turnovers in the game so far.
Woolston on the skip pass, and that is perfect. Second three of the game for Kaylee Woolston. She's got 8 points. BYU shooting 53% as a team overall on 10 of 19 from the field now, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. 25-14. The Cougars have exploded here in the second quarter.
10-1 advantage here in the second frame. And BYU comes in with two clear advantages. One, Lauren Gustin. Number two, they have a lot of offensive threats on the outside.
A great move by Naro to get to the hoop, and she just left the layup short.
I've seen a couple of those where they just have missed some of those bunnies around the rim, but big time block there from Tatum Thompson, using her athleticism.
This is the double whammy. You get the block shot and it goes off of BYU. Those are the most disrespectful type of blocks.
Coaching staff feels like she may be one of the most talented athletic players that they have on this squad, and just understanding that her role. The 6'1" sophomore comes up with a big defensive play.
Good pass from Thompson as well. How about that last 30 seconds for Tatum Thompson, who picks up the assist. And the Broncos have a propensity for making you pay on those backdoor cuts.
Well, we've seen that several times in the half court where they run that backdoor. BYU's going to overplay.
Emma Calvert keeping that pass high and scoring it off the glass on the pass from Woolston. Transition opportunity, and Thompson is fouled. She'll go to the free throw line. So Boise State taking a page out of BYU's book in today's game and how the Cougars play, and they get out on the break after a made hoop.
Well, and a much better response out of the timeout at getting back to what was successful in the first quarter at cutting to the rim. BYU, they're successful at this lob pass, at throwing it inside, that high-low look, or from the wing inside to Calvert and Gustin. They work on it every day in practice on that connection.
Thompson makes the first free throw, the sophomore out of Woodinville, Washington. 6'1" guard will have one more to bring the Broncos within single digits, and she knocks it down. So it's a 9-point BYU advantage as we approach the midway part of the second quarter. Smiler gives to Bubakar and cycled to Woolston. Now corner for Davenport, who will dribble back out front towards Smiler. Again Woolston working on Naro. Gustin back into the game, will hand off to Woolston. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Woolston spinning. One-footed jumper is rebounded by Gustin, and Gustin will kick it back out to Davenport for three. That's just long, and the rebound is secured by Mary Kay Naro, the senior out of Beaverton, Oregon, quickly into the front court as Maya Hansen. Hansen off the screen from Thompson. Will go back to Tatum. Tatum's jumper is short, and Gustin now has a couple of quick rebounds.
BYU's done a really good job on the defensive glass at just limiting Boise State to one and done. They do have 3 offensive boards, but haven't done much with it.
The travel is called on Kaylee Smiler. She started her movement before she put that ball on the floor. So a turnover by BYU. Look at Lauren Gustin's career rebounding numbers, 1,327 coming into the game. We anticipate she's going to be top 5 all time in the history of women's basketball when she is done at BYU.
She's got 5 rebounds in this game and just continues to exceed expectations because she set such high expectations for herself.
Rose Bubakar's three is too long, and the rebound is fought away by Maya Hansen. Boise State, after Lavrovich scored the last time down the floor for the Broncos, looking for consecutive successful trips. It's 27-20. BYU got out to an 11-point lead, and Thompson again wanted the backdoor cut for Naro. But Naro slipped, and that ball is thrown out of bounds. 5th turnover by the Broncos. Oh, look like she got tripped up.
And maybe on the foot of Woolston. Yeah, she was trying to cut backdoor, and we've seen them do that several times. If BYU's going to overplay those passing lanes on the wing, they're looking for that backdoor cut.
Gustin hands off to Davenport. Dribble to her left. Bubakar rolling after the screen, no good. Gustin with the offensive rebound, has her shot swatted away by Hull, and Whiting and Hull collide. They're going to call Trista Hull for the loose ball foul.
Both players.
Great effort by Hull there, and it's almost unfortunate that it had to end in a foul like that.
Both players shaking up on Trista Hull a little bit more than Amari Whiting, and that's just a stinger right to the face. You can see Hull still trying to gather and collect herself.
Block shot on Gus, and then you see him just collide heads right here. Oh!
This is just an effort play, and that's the hardest part of the head right there, just right above the eye.
A hole being attended to on the end of her bench. Making sure there's no cuts. And certainly with concussion protocols in place and how high alert sports are in general to the matter, as they should be, and they're taking that closer look. Whiting steps back into a long 2. And that ends a little bit of a scoring drought for BYU. It's 29-20.
Amari Whiting, just her first basket of the game, coming off that career high 19 points against Utah State just this week. And it's such a benefit for Coach Whiting to have her out there as her daughter, obviously, but just to have the scoring power that it can be anybody's night on any given day.
Davenport left open for 3 in the left corner, and that rims off. Abby Muse fights away the rebound.
Muse with 4 rebounds now to go with 5 points. And she's going to have an entire game where she has to work on the boards against Gustin.
Muse inside around Gustin, and that'll help the shooting percentage, which has been subpar for the Broncos. 31% before that make.
And they're just 1 for 7 from distance. This is a team that comes in, shoots the 3-ball well, but haven't had any success on the outside. They're 4th in the country in 3-point field goal percentage. You see an offensive foul.
Davenport pushing off. Utah Jazz fans around the country are saying, that's what Michael Jordan did in the NBA Finals.
Oh, but that's a clear foul. You see that arm extension. That's easy for the officials to recognize, call, especially with Naro kind of falling back as a defender. And Mary Kay Naro comes from a long line of talented basketball players. And her grandpa, Rick Edelman, was the longtime coach, Hall of Famer in the NBA for the Portland Trailblazers.
The Trailblazer fans know about frustration with Michael Jordan as well. Kaylee Smiler. Back to Boubacar. Whiting working around Boubacar on the screen. Goes at Naro and is fouled on the layup.
Mari Whiting, 5'10". Hard to believe that she is a true freshman, and the role that she's played so far in BYU's early preseason success and her ability to create off the bounce, her shot as well as shots for her teammates. That's what makes her such a dynamic player and what BYU's trying to do. Last year, BYU had shooters, don't get me wrong, but this year, several shooters on the outside, and it just opens up the lane for Whiting in there as we see Trista Hull come back in. It's a good sign for the Broncos to see her out there, number 22 underneath.
No doubt about it. Good to have Trista back on the floor as Whiting is long on the first free throw and no good. Second one is good. 3 points for Amari Whiting. BYU leads by 8 at 30-22 as we near halftime. Muse has her shot blocked by Emma Calvert, and Calvert gets bumped into by Hull. It'll stay Boise State basketball as Calvert is ruled the last to touch it.
And watch Calvert right here. She's a leading block inside for BYU. Muse on the other side of the leading block. She goes right back at Calvert. A lot of fire and competitiveness in her. She wanted that ball to go right at Calvert again.
Abby Muse now with 9 points. Calvert inside. Emma Calvert, in many ways, Kristen, has been BYU's best overall player in this game, both offensively and defensively today.
Just the improvement we've seen in her to the last couple games. The last 4 games, she's averaging 14 points per game and continues to be efficient around the rim at 62% coming in.
4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists.
What a fun matchup inside with her and Muse.
Good step through. And are they going to count the bucket?
And that's going to go against Whiting. That will be her second foul as she reached in.
So an and one opportunity for Muse. She went to the step through move to score it and earn a trip to the free throw line.
Huge emphasis on what Abby Muse does offensively in this game coming in, because she's typically just known for her defense. She'll put some points on the board, but she only averages 7 points per game, and they need more offensive output from their post players, particularly Muse and Hull inside, and you can tell that she is more committed to be that player on the offensive side and anchor inside.
The free throw's missed. Boubacar is bumped and fouled by Muse. That's her first personal, and the 4th team foul on Boise State in the quarter.
Muse got 11 points already to lead her team. Here's a look, just too much contact. You see the arm underneath and then leaning on Rose Boubacar.
Lob for Calvert, who gives quickly to Boubacar. They'll go to Smiler, setting up for 3 in the right corner. And Kaylee Smiler having her own big impact in this game for BYU. She's got 6 points, both from 3-point makes, as well as 3 assists and a couple of rebounds, and BYU's lead is back out to 9. There's rebound number 7 for Calvert.
Calvert playing some big minutes with Gustin, 2 personal fouls on the bench.
Calvert fakes the 3. Settled for the long 2, and that's no good. Rebounded by Muse, her 5th board to go along with 11 points. About a 7-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Hull hands off for Jada Clark. Here's Maya Hansen. Bouncing inside, and another steal by Calvert. Boise State wanted Muse, and Calvert cut it out. Kaylee Smiler with 7 and 6. Now to Woolston with 5 and 4. 3-2 Woolston. Layup inside is good. The finger roll to beat the halftime buzzer. 37-26 at the break. Kaylee Woolston into double figures after that gem.
And BYU runs that one-down action with Calvert, and she kind of ices it, but Calvert turns just enough to get a screen.
She beats Muse with that.
Right at 6'3", Abby Muse. What a competitor. Beautiful job from Woolston with that clock going down to give BYU a little bit of a boost momentum.
Amber Whiting, the head coach of BYU, is with Brett Hammer.
Coach, Emma Calvert getting the start today. How do you evaluate her and the rest of your team's physical performance out on the block?
Emma's been killing it for us. She's earned that, and I believe that it creates a really good mismatch for us. She's tough on the block, and so we can use that and exploit that to our strength.
Where do you need to see your team improve in the second half?
We've been backdoored a couple times. We've given them open shots. We got to really lock in defensively.
Thanks, Coach.
Amber Whiting headed to the locker room with her team leading by 11, and Emma Calvert in a very complete first half. Kaylee Woolston also in double figures. Abby Muse doing what she can to help a Boise State offense that's had trouble finding consistency. We'll be back with more on ESPN+. This is your Saturday showcase of NCAA women's basketball on the Big 12 now. Halftime in Provo at the Marriott Center. BYU leading Boise State 37-26 in our Saturday showcase of NCAA women's hoops. This is the Big 12 now on ESPN+. Alongside Kristen Kozlowski, I'm Spencer Linton. And the Cougars relied heavily on, yes, their star Lauren Gustin, but Emma Calvert with a very, very nice first half as well.
Oh, they complement each other so well. The two close players inside for Whiting. It's a big reason Calvert got the start because it presents a mismatch, like she said. But Lauren Gustin continues to do work for this BYU basketball team. She had 12 points in the first half, 7 boards, did pick up 2 personal fouls, so had to sit out in the latter part of that second frame, but she just continues to work, even through the double team. She moves without the basketball, works on her angles, getting a good angle to finish at the basket, and so crucial to what BYU does at establishing that force inside.
Boise State assistant coach Heather Sauer said, "We held Lauren to 24 and 17 last year," jokingly. But she's pacing for a similar stat line again.
She is, if she can stay on the floor out of foul trouble, but the complement of her along with Woolston for BYU. Woolston a plus 14 when she's on the court so far in the first half. Just an efficient scorer for this team, continues to know what her role is, and it's to score. 10 points in the first half. She's 4 for 6 from the floor, 2 for 2 from 3-point.
3 assists as well, and the 55% three-point shooter has taken 2 triples, made both of them, as you mentioned, Kristen. Let's look at the first half statistics. The 11-point advantage for the Cougars. BYU out shooting Boise State. BYU at 47%, Boise State just 33%. And again, you see the big differential in the 3-point field goals. BYU's knocked down 4. Boise State, surprisingly, just the one from Maya Hansen, 1 for 7.
Yeah, this is a team that comes in 4th in the country, 3-point field goal percent. So BYU, a lot of credit what they're doing to be disruptive on the outside.
We're back with more on our halftime report. This is the Big 12 now on ESPN+. BYU in front by 11. (37-26) BYU in front of Boise State. More NCAA women's basketball in just a moment as we wrap up halftime, but not before we hear from the Boise State side. Heather Sauer, assistant coach, with some first half thoughts as it pertains to the Broncos. She's with Brett Hammer.
What was the message at halftime?
You know, we've got to play faster. That's the biggest thing. We left a lot of points out there. We've left 6 points of layups, missed layups out there right now. We've given up 6 points in transition defense right there. Right there, 12 points, big difference maker in the game, okay?
You handled Lauren Gustin early on in the first quarter. Obviously, she's a big point of emphasis in this game. How do you restart that here in the second half?
Well, I haven't seen one team yet in the last 3-4 years that's taken care of Lauren Gustin. So I think it's going to be really important that we limit her second shot opportunities, not send her to the free throw line, and then we got to handle everybody else around the rim right now because their points in the paint has been kind of detrimental to us at this point.
Thanks, Coach.
Heather Sower, great personality. We really enjoyed our conversation with her at length as we prepared for this game. And again, if you missed it earlier, she jokingly said, well, we did a really good job on Lauren. We held her to 24 points and 17 rebounds. So we're going to see if we can be better than that. And Gustin, man, she just, when it feels like you kind of have her corralled, she'll just go on these quick bursts. And that's kind of what happened in her limited of sorts minutes in the first half.
Well, and I'll tell you, one of the keys for them was to get her into foul trouble. They did that halfway through the second quarter, and that's where they made their run to kind of chip away. I mean, it was a 10-1 start at the second quarter frame for this BYU team, and they ended 12-12, even after Gustin went out. And so that's a big key for Boise State. Also, those zero-footers, as they call them. We have got to make the zero-footers right there at the rim, missing layups. That's not characteristic for this Boise State team. They've got to knock them down.
Reminder, be sure to catch the following women's basketball games tomorrow. Xavier travels to one of those newcomers to the Big 12, Cincinnati. That's a regional rivalry for sure, as the Big X takes on the Bearcats. You can watch that on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus at 2 p.m. Eastern. And Kansas faces in-state opponent Wichita State. It's all about regional rivalries and non-conference play this week. You can watch that showdown also on ESPN Plus, and another tip-off at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're just about set for the second half. It'll be Boise State basketball. Trista Hull to inbound, and Mary Kay Naro, her point guard, awaits in the backcourt. Big second quarter for BYU. The Cougars outscoring the Broncos 22-13 in the second 10 minutes, and that's what has allowed BYU some distance at home as the Cougars try and get to 8-2. Boise State also trying to pick up their 8th win of the season. Hull turning and going right at Gustin, and she got the bounce off the back iron and down.
Boy, resilient right there, because she just ran right into a wall with Gustin, who held her ground, and Hull just muscled that shot up through her. It has been a really fun matchup inside with Gustin and Calvert, and then Muse and Hull for Boise State.
And Gustin throws it away. Looked like she thought she had a teammate that was going to cut to the basket. Did not happen, and so a rather easy takeaway for the Broncos on the 7th turnover of the game by BYU.
Pasco, just 2 points in the first half. You see a turnover right there. She tried to insert the ball into Abby Muse. Smiler did an outstanding job defensively, once again limiting the numbers of the star offensive player for the opposing team.
Gustin with position inside, and her shot is partially blocked, but with some contact, and Hull is frustrated, as Gustin will go back to the free throw line, looking to add to her already 12 points.
You see the double team doesn't come, but the reach in there on the left hand. If she had stayed more vertical with those arms, I don't think that call comes. The whistle does not come, but the hand angled down.
Yeah, not much there. I mean, it's that close to not being a foul. It's really good defense by Hull up until it's that tendency to want to kind of swipe at the basketball.
Yeah, if you lean with the arm, they're looking for that. If she keeps it vertical, they're not going to get it.
Offensive rebound off the miss. Whiting's three is no good. Emma Calvert with 8 boards to lead BYU. Here is Hansen. She'll dribble to the right side. Naro, quick entry pass for Hull. Double team comes from BYU. Hull falling away, can't score it. And Calvert with her 9th rebound. Woolston lost it for a moment up the sideline. Collects in the left corner and will now go to Whiting. Swung to Calvert inside Gustin. Isolated on Hull and muscles her way into that left-handed layup. Coach Presnell wanted an offensive foul, saying that Gustin hooked the defender.
Emma Calvert so good at throwing that pass quickly inside, and Boise State opting not to double to start this half, just playing it straight up and letting Hull play her one-on-one inside. Gustin is so good with those angles to the basket.
Naro was fouled coming off the screen set by Muse by Amari Whiting.
Well, Calvert just threw that in so quickly. And then you see right here, his Hull almost could have got another call on the foul.
I think there's a case there. That elbow's it's swinging a little bit. There's a case there. I see why Boise State's upset about that. Muse trying to answer back. Too strong. Gustin has the rebound. That is her 8th board, but Naro creates a turnover to get Boise State the basketball back.
She does a really good job of just disrupting that passing lane on the outlet, and it went off the foot of Amari Whiting. And this is where I think Boise State can turn up the intensity a little bit, force some of those turnovers. Both these teams don't typically force a lot of turnovers. They're not going to be up pressing you the entire full court, but Boise State can afford to try to be disruptive more with that pressure.
Hanson, good looking 3-point shot, goes down again. Both of her 3-point makes have been from 2 to 3 feet beyond the line, and she's got Boise's only 2 3-point makes.
Yeah, just 2 for 8 in this game from 3 points.
She is a pure stroke for the Broncos. Woolston, shot blocked out of bounds by Hull. It'll stay with the Cougars, 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Hull does a nice job keeping her body off of Woolston and just locating that ball for the block. This team, 2nd in the nation coming in, 7.2 blocks per game as a team.
Whiting has Gustin with 3 on the shot clock, bounces to Calvert. Little quick floater, rims off. Good look. The shot clock winding down in transition. And that shot drops for Natalie Pasco.
There's that transition, pushing the pace that we heard Coach talk about at the break. Is trying to get that ball up quicker, trying to get easier looks in transition.
Pass too tall for Gustin. 10th turnover by BYU in the game. And a few quick ones here to open up the 3rd quarter.
You see how quickly they're pushing that ball up. There's Pasco, their leading offensive threat coming in. Nice little shot, short corner.
Pasco's first 2 points of the game come here in the 2nd half. Hanson dribbling around. Wilson is tripped and fouled. 2nd team foul on BYU in the 3rd quarter. Lauren Davenport will check back in for BYU, replacing Amari Whiting. Naro to inbound. Baseline left, has Hanson flashing into that left corner. She'll work around the screen for Muse. Hull, entry pass for Muse at Calvert. Double team comes over. Davenport with the block shot on the 6'3" Abby Muse.
BYU with 5 team blocks. Excellent job from Davenport to help out, knowing Muse was going to turn left shoulder.
Calvert for 3, leaves it short. Gustin tracks down the long offensive rebound, has Davenport cutting inside. And Lauren Davenport can't connect on the layup. Rebound Calvert. The putback is good. Emma Calvert now with 6 points and 11 rebounds.
All of that created, those extra opportunities created by Lauren Gustin, tracking down the rebound, then tipping it into the hands of Calvert.
Calvert picks up her 3rd personal foul. We'll take one more look as Davenport, just moments ago, comes up with the block shot, creating a transition opportunity for BYU that eventually was paid off by Calvert scoring there. Abby Muse was the Bronco fouled by Calvert, and Muse will go to the free throw line. This is the perfect time while we're at the free throw line to reference what happened between BYU and Utah State a few days ago. 51 fouls were called.
I looked at, they corrected that, 52.
Oh, my apologies. They added another 52 fouls called in that game. And hopefully I haven't jinxed this here. I waited to the 2nd half to bring it up.
They had 55 free throws attempted in that game, and neither team shot the free throw line very well, right around 60% for Utah State and BYU. But I really appreciate the officiating in this game here today, letting them play through the physicality.
You mean you don't want to listen to me commentate 55 free throws?
I'm going to tell you, that is hard to call. And it's hard for the players. How many reviews did we see as well that they had to take a look at?
Yeah, only 13 combined free throws halfway through the 3rd quarter. Davenport is going to go to the line and shoot 2 more. Almost a clean block there. And well, the block looked clean, but did they call the body? They had to have on Lavrovich, who didn't like the call, but nonetheless, here we go with Davenport at the free throw line for BYU. She misses the first. She'll have one more. The Cougars, 4 of 7 from the free throw line combined. Boise State, 3 of 7. Davenport makes the second. And the Cougars back in front by 10 at 43-33.
You mentioned the free throws. That's an area that BYU team struggles in this season. Just 62% coming in.
Lalott will kick back out to Lavrovich for the 3. Offensive rebound. Narl has the shot blocked by Smiler. That's Kaylee Smiler's second block of the game.
Well, Narl had a great look at it. She thought she had a wide open layup until the long reach of Smiler comes over. Her 12th block of the season for Kaylee Smiler. We talk a lot about post players being elite blockers, and I'm going to say Kaylee Smiler's elite. There's another one from Davenport.
3 is missed from the corner by Pasco, and rebound secured by Bubakar and BYU. I did not have on today's bingo card that Kaylee Smiler would have more block shots at this juncture of the game than Abby Muse. Kaylee Woolston, however, I did expect to show up for BYU and maintain her three-point shooting. She's now 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. BYU with a game high lead of 13.
She's perfect, and if you watch, it's her footwork, it's getting her feet set, her shoulders set, and then that follow-through.
Lalott, that's a good physical move.
Lalott, some foul trouble in the first half, so played limited minutes, but I've already talked about her size and her strength inside and can really make it tough for Gustin, but a good, strong move offensively. BYU with the advantage, points in the paint, just by 2. So we've had a back and forth inside as you see Smiler get to the rim.
Kaylee Smiler now with 8 points.
She's shifty, she's deceiving, and just picks her moments, doesn't play outside of her role.
Narl. She too misfires on the three-point shot. And Boise State now just 2 for 12 from beyond the arc. Compare that to 5 for 11 for BYU at the three-point line, and Rose Bubakar gets loose inside the paint to score 2 there. Her first 2 of the game. BYU extends their game high lead out to 15. 3:35 to play in the third quarter. BYU leading Boise State 50-35. You're watching college basketball on the Big 12 now on ESPN+. BYU leading by a game-high 15 points at 50-35. 3:35 to play here in the third quarter. And the Cougars, well, taking advantage in a couple of categories. Not surprisingly to see, or surprising rather, to see BYU dominate the boards, which they have today, out-rebounding Boise State 34-23, but they're out shooting a really good Boise State shooting team, Kristen. 20 out of 42 for BYU. The Broncos 15 for 46, and then you look at the three-point disparity. Aside from Maya Hansen's 2 3-point makes, no other Boise State player has connected, and they are so used to being so much better than just 2 for 12. Now, there's a quick stoppage here. And there may be a discrepancy with when the clock started, or somehow a misunderstanding on when the media timeout was supposed to happen. So we're going to figure all of this out here once again and come back with more. BYU leading Boise State 50-35. Stay with us on ESPN+. Amber Whiting and BYU leading Boise State 50-35 with 3:29 to play in the third quarter. And we mentioned there was some confusion as to where the game clock needed to be. Kristen, what did you find out as you were paying attention during the break?
Well, they're trying to figure out if there should be time added to the clock because it was started and stopped not at the same time. So the officials literally have a stopwatch trying to time this as they watch a replay.
We're not sure exactly where and when the game clock
It should be
was called into
3:35.
question.
Let's see, so they're just going to drop 1 second off of the shot clock and put it at 24 now.
Okay, so they lead the game clock at 3:29 and the shot clock now at 24. A lengthy break, but hey, I mean, if it comes down to a last second shot,
Sometimes you never know.
You want to get it right.
Yep. It's tough as players, though, to have that much time taken off where you're just kind of standing and waiting to get going back into the aggressiveness of the game.
That's last touched by Lavrovich.
Emma Calvert has just been outstanding today. She's got 6 points, 3 for 8 shooting, career high 11 boards. She's influenced every single aspect of the game. She's got 3 blocks, she's got some steals, and just has really battled in there her first start of the season this year.
Rose Bubakar coming off a curl, has the shot blocked away out of bounds. It'll stay with the Cougars. 15 on the shot clock, 2:58 to play in the third quarter. Gustin from Whiting has Calvert, and Smiler fakes the 3, drives inside, cut off. She's left open for the 10-footer, and you could hear her say, "Oh my goodness." The shot came off, and she knew it was going to miss.
More open than I think she anticipated as the defender kind of went by her and left her wide open. That's how much attention is drawn to Lauren Gustin underneath. They're more worried about number 12 for BYU than they are anyone else. And Gustin also draws another foul. That foul going against Tatum Thompson for the Broncos.
Whiting defended by Hansen. Bubakar, lob pass for Gustin. Lalott got a hand on it, and Gustin trying to collect it. Knocks it out of bounds.
Elodie Lalott at 6'2", senior. She's one of those veteran players on this team. Mountain West honorable mention a season ago, and the leading scorer from a season ago.
Whiting comes up with a steal, jump ball, and possession arrow in favor of BYU.
Whiting averages just under 2 steals per game, 1.8 through the first 9 games of the season, and that is her big-time role to set that tempo and the tone defensively. Picks up the ball at half court, gets her hands on a lot of the balls when you're trying to cross it over.
8 turnovers for Boise State in contrast to BYU's 11 giveaways. And an offensive foul called on Kaylee Smiler for setting an illegal screen. That is Smiler's first personal foul and her second turnover. BYU now with 12 turnovers as a team. Hansen, in the short corner left, had to alter her shot and leaves it short.
12 rebounds now for Calvert. Gustin with 11. Those two have absolutely set the tone inside for BYU.
And Tatum Thompson on the back of Gustin with the pump fake. Lauren Gustin will go back to the free throw line.
Boise State with their smaller lineup right now. Their tallest player out there is Elodie Lalott. Well, you've got Tatum Thompson guarding Gustin inside, and Thompson 6'1" maybe, but she just is outmatched in there with Gustin.
Lauren Gustin, 15 points, 11 rebounds. That was a non-shooting foul, so correction on that. She will not shoot 2. BYU with possession. Gustin again inside, and Lalott is on the back of Gustin. That is the 15th foul on the Broncos, and now Gustin, thanks to the double bonus, will go to the free throw line to shoot 2 for the Cougars.
She's already 3 for 4 in this game. Much improved, as you mentioned, off of that Utah State game. Just did not shoot well at the charity stripe. BYU as a team did not shoot well against the Aggies.
First free throw rims off for Gustin, who is now 3 of 5 from the free throw line, 60%, which is frankly an improvement upon her season average of 44%, but missed both there. So if there is any glaring deficiency in Gustin's game, it certainly is at the free throw line. She does pretty much everything else at an elite level.
She clearly is comfortable right around the rim, and we know she's been working on her range in the offseason and improving, being more comfortable taking those shots, because if she's outside the paint, teams are just going to play off of her and allow her to take whatever shot she wants out there and gamble on the percentages.
We've got yet another stoppage here. So the third quarter moving at a snail's pace because of some clock operator errors.
Well, the shot clock at 30, some time should be off of that, and 1:43 remaining in the third quarter.
Where's play-by-play? Who has play-by-play? Who has play-by-play?
You can hear the officials asking.
For play-by-play.
So we're going to try and find the running time and confirm that's what they're looking for, are the officials here.
Well, Spencer, you're play-by-play. You rose your hand, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that's what they're implying. Is they want the actual play-by-play stat keeper.
Again, annoyances for both of these teams to have several stoppages here, but if this does come down to a final possession or two, you just got to have it right.
And so what the officials are doing now is they're re-watching. They're watching a replay and going back to try to get accurate how much time came off of the game clock versus the shot clock, as those two coordinate with each other and try to sync them up.
They're looking at a high angle that includes a clear shot of the shot clock, and then they will manually time it with a stopwatch, do some quick math, give the instruction, and then we'll go. Now, while they figure this out, Kristen, let's
watch the
take
shot
a look
clock.
back.
You can kind of see the shot clock in the left corner.
Okay, so the shot clock should have started. So it should be at 28.
Yeah, it should be 27, 28.
Unless the game clock didn't start either, and the game clock did not start. So they take 11 seconds off the game clock from 1:45 to 1:34 and put the shot clock at 19. Okay, there you go. Let's play basketball. Lalott. And an offensive foul on Lalott.
And that'll be her
Moving
fourth.
screen, yeah, her fourth personal.
This has not been able to stay in the game for longer than she wants, or that Coach Gordy Presnell hoped for, to keep her in there with the physicality, as she picked up her fourth. She's got 2 points, 1 for 5 from the floor, a player that averages about 17 minutes per game.
Calvert. And she's frustrated as that passes out of her reach. Defended by Thompson. And that's another turnover for BYU.
Number 13 for the Cougars in giveaways, 9 for the Broncos.
Lobrovich for three. Still the only answer for the Broncos from the three-point line is Maya Hansen. Boise State shooting just 15% from the three-point line. Can Thompson change it? No. Rebounded by Emma Calvert.
I mean, even Pasco hasn't hit one, and she comes in. She's a player that averages 49% from distance.
Davenport tries her luck with a three for BYU, and that's long. Transition opportunity scored as Bays gets down the floor before everyone else. And that ends a long scoring drought for the Broncos, as Davenport knocks down a three in the left corner and shrugs like, finally.
You could see the relief in her just to get one to go down.
Thompson trying to answer right back. No good, as the third quarter buzzer expires. That was a very interesting third frame. BYU pushes their lead out to 16 at 53-37. 10 more minutes to play in the Marriott Center as the Cougars try and get to 8-2 in non-conference play. Kaylee Smiler and company doing their part defensively. Our Saturday showcase continues on ESPN Plus after these short messages. Abby Muse has tied her season high in scoring with 11 points, averages just over 7 a game. And I think the way things are going, with her being one of the few offensive answers for the Broncos, she's probably going to set a new season high, Kristen, today, even with the extra defensive attention by BYU.
Well, she came out completely aggressive and on attack on the offensive side, really looking for a shot. She's been more of a defensive-minded post in years past, and there you see our impact players, two battling it out inside. Gustin already with another double-double, her 64th of her career. She leads the nation in double-doubles. Abby Muse scored all of her 11 points in the first half, so she needs to come out and have a big fourth quarter because she didn't do anything in the third. Just had one rebound, went 0 for 3 from the floor.
Lavrovich opts for the corner, and Danny Bays will dribble back out to the wing. Naro. Lavrovich. And she is fouled on the way up for the right-handed layup. Shot clock was down to 7. And the Broncos will go to the free throw line here early in the fourth quarter, trying to mount a run on the road.
When the Broncos play on attack and they look for those driving lanes and they penetrate off the dribble, they've been effective. But when they get that movement away from the ball with the back cuts, been very effective at going to the rim. Now, they haven't scored a few of the bunnies, right? Those 0-footers, but they're breaking down the defense. And now you get to the free throw line. You got to step up and knock them down.
Well, and they have struggled from the free throw line. 0 for 2 there. Muse got the rebound, and there is the new season high for Muse in scoring with 13 points to go along with 7 rebounds. That's a big bucket after 2 free throw misses. Boise State needed something good here early in the fourth quarter.
Now, she's been the offensive answer in this one for the Broncos team that struggles to put points on the board. And
a turnover by Kaylee Smiler on the sideline. 14th turnover by BYU. So the Broncos get a bucket and a stop, and will try and convert off of that Cougars turnover.
And they forced BYU into 14 giveaways, but just 8 points off of turnovers. Need to do a better job executing once they force the extra possession on their side.
They go right back to Muse. Forced to bounce it on the baseline, and that's a frustrating turnover by the Broncos. Their 10th of the game as Naro was on the sideline and given right back to the Cougars.
And Naro has not scored in this game, was looking for an opportunity there. And the Broncos going into a zone defense now, mixing it up.
Calvert flashing high in the zone, leaves Woolston open for 3, and she remains perfect from beyond the arc. Kaylee Woolston, 4 for 4 from downtown. In transition, Lavrovich is fouled as Woolston and Calvert were converging, trying to get back after the three-point make. Kaylee Woolston was 16 points. She was 55% beyond the arc for the season coming into the game, and that certainly has improved with a perfect three-point shooting afternoon thus far.
Well, she's the one player that will break apart a zone very quickly with her efficiency out on the three-point line and what she can do shooting. You cannot lose her in the zone. You have to crowd her and take your chances with everyone else.
1 for 2 on the free throw trip from Lavrovich.
But Calvert, 14 rebounds, continues to build on that career high in the rebound category.
Whiting for 3. Leaves it short. Muse with those long arms, able to out-rebound Gustin, who had position. Don't see that very often, but that is the length of Abby Muse. Double team from Smiler, and a foul is called. It will go against Kaylee Smiler.
Smiler was the one coming with the double team and just trying to crowd Muse. Too much contact, and you see a good entry early. When she's got that position, you got to feed her the ball, but too much contact with Smiler.
Wilson will check out for BYU, take a breather.
BYU trying to limit what Muse does in there. Beautiful job executing baseline out of bounds. That kind of curl off the screen from Pasco.
Calvert will dribble into a 3, left wide open, leaves it long, and the rebound is grabbed by Hull, gives to Naro. Flips over to Muse, back to Hull, 17-footer, in and out. Hull gets the offensive rebound, right back at Calvert, can't score with the left hand. Muse nearly had the offensive board, but it's poked away by Davenport, and an offensive foul is called on Emma Calvert running into Hull. And that is Calvert's 4th personal foul.
Hull and Muse working so hard in there to create the extra opportunities on the glass, and they've been going at Gustin and Calvert, 2 incredible posts. But watch right here, BYU gets the ball, and that's a tough angle. We can't really see it as those two kind of collide, and Hull hits the deck.
Naro to inbound, has Pasco. Has 6 points now after her recent bucket. Back out to Bays for 3. And the three-point shooting woes continue for the Broncos. Just 2 for 16 outside the arc. 31% overall for the game compared to BYU's 45% shooting from the field. And the Cougars are 7 of 16 from the three-point line. That really, Kristen, is the major difference.
Yeah, the biggest storyline in the game. This is Broncos team 4th in the nation coming in at 42% from distance, and they average 8.3 made threes per game. As you mentioned, just those 2 makes. As Whiting's going to draw the foul. She's incredible off the bounce, and she has great body control to just kind of go up strong, creating the contact, sometimes scoring through the contact, but getting herself to the free throw line.
Mari Whiting, quiet afternoon scoring after a big performance against Utah State, just 3 points. But that's the thing about this BYU team is they feel like while Gustin is the dominant individual performer, they can beat you with balance. So if the role player one game is Amari Whiting, it'll be Kaylee Wilson in another, or it'll be Kaylee Smiler somewhere else, or Emma Calvert. And we've seen Calvert and Woolston reestablish themselves as the big 2 and 3 for BYU in today's game against Boise State.
Whiting had that career high with 19, as you mentioned, against Utah State. And today it's been Woolston with the 16 points. You know what you're getting out of Gustin with that double-double every game.
Muse, good backup by Naro, and she missed another layup.
Now she's a player that's missed multiple to-go footers. As we talked about, those bunnies around the rim and just the lack of focus. You make a great move to the basket and then don't finish.
Whiting, floater, just a bit strong. Hole gathers the rebound and quickly to Naro. They want Muse inside with Bubakar defending. Muse skips and stolen by Smiler. Being chased by Pasco. Smiler is tripped up and she'll go to the free throw line for 2.
Kaylee Smiler anticipating in the passing lanes and just jumping right into that. It was a little bit delayed by Muse to get that pass out. She just took a little bit of a hesitation, and Smiler read it perfectly.
Kaylee Smiler, 8 points, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and unable to connect on the first free throw there, so she'll have one more shot here to get to 9 and try and push this lead to 17 for BYU, but she missed both, and a foul was called on the miss. Just a question of who it is. They signal it'll go against Trista Hull.
She's going to hold on the rebound as Smiler missed both those free throws.
So BYU given another opportunity. Smiler has Whiting to her right. Hand off to Davenport. Back for Whiting. Hesitation move. Now again, Davenport with 6 on the shot clock. Lauren Davenport. Her runner is short. Rebounded by Muse. Naro has Hull running the floor. Somehow got that ball out to Pasco. Pasco inside. Her shot is partially blocked, but she's fouled. Natalie Pasco to the free throw line. There's 6:15 to play in the game. And Boise State in desperate need of some offensive consistency. The time is now if they're going to make this a game here late.
Well, and I would say more importantly, though, defensive consistency at getting stops, right? We just saw a possession where they got to stop and then you come down and hopefully put points on the board. You can get yourself to the free throw line even better because you're stopping the clock, step up, knock down some free throws, but you can't chip away at this by just trading baskets with this BYU team. You got to continue to string along some stops.
This is a Boise State team that's trying to get to 10 wins in non-conference play. 10-3 would be a really good mark for the Broncos, and they're looking for that top 3 finish in Mountain West play when that starts. UNLV, we just showed you they beat Oklahoma on the road convincingly. They are the clear favorite in the Mountain West. Strong team. They want to be in the top 3 with the Rebels. And maybe Wyoming or Colorado State there as Davenport is fouled, driving in from the right side.
Muse lost a contact. Looks like she's holding it in her hand, and she's going to attempt to put it on. Strong move. Davenport along the baseline. Right into the trees. I mean, Muse and Hull, long, athletic post players in there.
Hull is headed over to the bench.
Got a bloody nose a little bit. It's been a physical game, and Hull has taken her fair share of the physicality, and we saw her collide with Amari Whiting in the first half, right to that eye.
You know, Hull is a player that has really transformed herself in the gym. Coach laughed and said she wears those knee pads. Sometimes we want her to not go so hard. We want her to stay healthy,
floor, right?
Stay on the floor.
But she's scrappy and she's a hustler. Those 50-50 balls, you can almost guarantee she's going to be involved trying to pick up for the Broncos. And it's so valuable to have a player like that down the stretch and just valuing the basketball, each possession so crucial.
It's Caitlin Burgess into the game for Boise State. As Coach Presnell is having to go down the bench a little bit. Kaylee Smiler whistled for a foul on the reach-in. Laughing in frustration at that foul call.
It's the third on Smiler. Smiler with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and those 5 assists, as you mentioned.
That'll send Burgess, who again just got onto the floor, to the free throw line. Burgess averages just 4 minutes a game. He comes in and makes a big free throw. She's got 1 more.
We're dead even. Well, we were till that free throw. Now a 8-7 advantage for the Broncos in this fourth quarter frame. So if they can continue to get stops, you're going to shrink this lead. And the only way to do it is on the defensive end and then be able to convert offensively.
Lead at 15, again after a 1-for-2 trip from Burgess at the free throw line. How about this? Just 7 of 15 from the free throw line as Davenport lines up another 3 but misses. So Boise State leaving some points on the free throw line for sure. Hughes inside, looking to build on her season high scoring. Cannot score over Gustin. Davenport behind the back dribble will advance it and has Woolston. Now Smiler bounce inside for Gustin. He's able to reach for that and keep it on the baseline into the double team. Finds a reserve in Smiler. Bubakar right back to Gustin, and before that shot is attempted, a foul is called on Abby Muse.
That's a great example of what Lauren Gustin does for this team and her relentless energy, because they were able to sandwich and bring the double team, not give Gustin a good look at the rim, but then she quickly resealed as that ball got into the right wing and sealing for position and drawing contact. Just never takes a playoff. Doesn't matter how tired you are. If you take a playoff against Gustin, she's going to make you pay.
Amber Whiting told us yesterday, as Gustin misses another free throw, I want a triple-double from her at some point. That's the next thing. She's become the double-double queen, and she's got her 8th double-double of the season already today. She's had 6 20-20 games, but it's the triple-double that Amber Whiting is now pushing her for.
She's a great passing big, and so if it's going to come from 3 different categories, stat categories, it's going to be rebounds, points, and probably assists for Gustin.
And Gustin will lead BYU as the career leader in total rebounds.
And coming into this game, she needs 156 to surpass Tina Gunn on the record books to be the first and best rebounder in BYU history.
She got 14 today, so it's down to 142 to hit that career mark at BYU. Muse to beat the shot clock. That's a big bucket. Abby Muse with 15 points to go along with her 8 rebounds.
And check out that left eye. If we get a shot, that's her right side, but the left eye has got a nice red mark when she lost the contact.
Now, they might take a look at this to see if this...
This is hard because it disrupts your momentum on a big shot from Muse. They've been getting stops, getting the free throw line.
We'll look for it.
So Muse scores it for now. It's 61-45, 4:26 to play in the game. We'll come back with details on the officials' review in just a moment. This is the Big 12 now on ESPN. Welcome back to the Marriott Center. We do have a clarification on what the officials were looking at as the shot clock was winding down. Abby Muse fired it from about 12 feet, and the ball is ruled to have still been in her hand. When you see the shot clock, top of the screen with 1, here's the official announcement from the referees.
Ruling on the court was a made basket is now overturned. No basket.
Okay, no basket for Abby Muse, so the score remains 61-45. And man, Kristen, Boise State's defense has done a lot of good stuff. They've held BYU scoreless for more than 4.5 minutes. They just can't cut into the Cougars' lead. There's a block shot on Lauren Gustin, and a foul is committed after the block shot.
Well, they're getting the stops they want, like you mentioned, and just not able to get it done. And it's been frustrating also in the paint.
Well, BYU with no field goals over the last 4:39 of game time. They've missed their last 6 shots overall. Gustin just missed 2 free throws not too long ago and now has missed 3 consecutive. So she's 4 for 9 from the free throw line. BYU just 10 of 19 from the charity stripe. Now Boise State not doing much better. And there's another 0 for 2 trip, so 4 straight missed free throws by Gustin. Once again, continues the scoring drought for the Cougars. And boy, that's just an absolute backbreaker of a turnover right there for the Broncos.
Timely turnover when possessions are hard to come by and you're trying to put points on the board and you get stops, and boy, that's tough. And you've held BYU scoreless for 5 minutes. You've got to be able to convert on the offensive side of the ball.
Lalott able to work and fight for that rebound. Naro. And she got a good look at another layup. Still cannot find the mark. 0 for 8 from the field for Naro. Woolston, meanwhile, continues her red-hot shooting for BYU. Now with 18 points, 7 for 11 from the field, 4 for 4 from the three-point line.
You got 4 players for BYU with at least 8 points, another with 6 points. And on the flip side for Boise State, just 2 players with at least 8 points in the game. The balance offensively highly favors this BYU team and what they have in offensive weapons.
The large lead of the game for BYU at 18. Amari Whiting's 3 rims off. Lalott with another rebound for the Broncos. Naro goes to Huckman, who is into the game. Burgess now. And Lalott, that's going to be the 5th foul on Emma Calvert, and she will be disqualified with those 5 fouls, but not after an outstanding performance overall from Calvert. 14 rebounds, 6 points, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and 3 assists.
Yeah, incredible game.
New season and career high, as you were talking about, Kristen, in rebounding with 14 there. Previous high was 8.
And things you don't see necessarily under her stat sheet is just what she did inside to be physical and make plays and get defensive stops and make it tough in there from Trista Hull and Abby Muse.
And Lalott unable to take advantage on the free throw line. Missed both, so the Broncos now 7 of 17 as a team from the free throw line. They, like BYU, have missed 10 shots from the charity stripe. Aaliyah Matavao is in, replacing the fouled out Emma Calvert. Whiting looking at Gustin. And she's going to be whistled for the travel. Turnover number 16 by BYU. The Cougars done a lot of things well today. The 2 glaring deficiencies are going to be too many turnovers with 16 and 10 for 20 from the free throw line.
2 areas they have struggled. Now the turnovers have greatly improved. We've seen several games where they've been in the 20s. Their season high 26 against Wake Forest, but that category has continued to improve.
Lalott repost inside at Gustin. Up and a strong move. Lalott now with 4 points.
She's averaging 6.5 points per game. Last year, a season ago, with top returning scorer, close to 10 points per game, 9.9. And if they can get more offense out of her, that's just going to help them down the stretch and into Mountain West Conference play.
Both offenses have significantly cooled off here in the 4th quarter. BYU just 1 for their last 9 shooting. Boise State with that make a moment ago, 1 for their last 8. Matavel, strong move to the hoop. Got to the glass on the right side, and she is fouled by Allie Huckman.
Matavel, a strong drive to the basket. You see just a mismatch there. Presents with her size and her ability to put the ball on the floor. A 2-time Nevada Gatorade Player of the Year, incredibly gifted with athleticism. Just a freshman out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
So Matavel settling into 2 free throws. Again, the foul on Heckman. Lauren Gustin treated to a nice applause by the BYU fans on her own floor. Matavel's free throw is long. I can't recall a game, Kristen, where I've seen both teams shoot under 50% from the free throw line, and that's an air ball by Matavel.
Yeah, not many of those I can recall that we've called or have seen.
I mean, I've seen one team or another shoot poorly, but both teams under 50%. BYU 10 for 22, Boise State 7 for 17. So 45% and 41% respectively for the Cougars and Broncos at the free throw line today. BYU in front by 16. They're zeroing in clearly on win number 8. They're going to go to 8-2 as a 3 goes up and is missed by Heckman. Whiting controlling for BYU. No hurry here.
One of the key statistics we were keeping our eye on coming into this game was rebounding. Well, BYU plus 14 in that category. These two teams, top 20 teams in rebound margin.
Heather Hampson off the bench and scores the baby hook off the glass. Hampson playing just about 2 or 3 minutes per game on the season and gets a bucket. Her teammates on the bench love that effort. BYU back in front by 18 as we push under a minute to play.
Here's the look, that high-low look BYU is so accustomed to getting because their bigs do a good job ducking in for the seal.
Another
3 seconds. No sub, no sub. Take 3 seconds.
stoppage by the officials here. They're asking for some more time to be taken out the game clock.
Kylie Krebs about to check in, didn't have her necklace off.
Shot clock was showing 28, now they put it at 25. But yeah, Krebs with a big smile on her face as we observe that. She's waiting to come in the game. We'll see if there's another stoppage or if Amber Whiting's forced to call timeout to get Krebs in. 3 is up, and there it is from Christensen. 3 for 18 with that make are the Broncos from behind the three-point line.
And she's the only other Bronco to make a three-point shot other than Maya Hansen in this game.
Marina Mata, freshman from Spain.
Boy,
Trying to get it to Davenport, she turns it over.
Hard to believe, just 17% from three-point for this Broncos team. And BYU executed beautifully on their three-point pressure and making sure on the perimeter that they had a hand up contesting all their three-point looks. So this is a team, the Broncos, we've said it several times, 4th in the nation, not just in the conference or in this area. It's 4th in the nation at 42% from distance coming in.
That's off of Marina Mata's foot for BYU and given back to the Broncos. 14 seconds on the game clock, 13 on the shot clock. And Coach Presnell, certainly some frustration today, but this Boise State team still have a great opportunity to pick up at least 10 wins in non-conference play. They'll fall to 7-3. BYU improved to 8-2. 7.4 to play in the game. Perhaps one final offering from the Broncos. Clark will dribble it out. No shot goes up. And so the final from Provo, BYU 65, Boise State 50.
BYU just shot the ball better than this Broncos team. The Cougars 42%, the Broncos 30%, and really that storyline back to the three-point shooting as BYU hit 7 from distance, 7 for 18. The Broncos 3 for 18. Cougars also dominated the boards. That was a huge emphasis for both these teams. You got to win the rebound battle. Well, BYU did a better job and have the advantage on the glass.
Lauren Gustin finishing with 16 points and 18 rebounds. And normally, we add a little bit more inflection into numbers like that, but she's basically right on her season average at 16 points and 18 rebounds as her absurd numbers just continue for the Cougars. Of note, Abby Muse with a new season high in points scored. She had 13 to lead Boise State and 8 rebounds. BYU celebrating with the home fans. Their 8th victory of the season. 3 more to go for the Cougars before they open up Big 12 conference play. Cougars' next home game will feature Idaho State a week from today, also a 2 p.m. tip-off that you can watch on the Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Emma Calvert, the Y factor of sorts, if you will, for BYU today. What a complete game she is with Brett Hammer.
Emma, you get the start tonight. You slow down and make life difficult for a very lengthy Boise State front court. What was working for you?
I mean, I think the high-low always works with me and Lauren down low. She's fantastic at posting up. And honestly, we were just moving the ball like crazy, which always works, you know? They can't guard all of us if the ball keeps moving, so.
We heard Amber Whiting say fight a lot as you guys were breaking timeouts, stuff like that. How do you evaluate this team's fight tonight?
She always says fight. Like, we gotta have the fight in us, because if any team can beat anybody on any night, honestly. And I think we fought pretty well today. I think we did. We got all of our bench in at the end, so that's always really good.
All right, last thing. Kaylee Wilson didn't miss from 3. How good is she at shooting, and what are we missing when she's at practice?
Oh my gosh, at practice sometimes she goes like 7 for 7, 11 for 12. Like it's insane, and her release on her shot is faster than I've ever seen in my life. Like she's fantastic at shooting. So
thanks, Emma.
Yep, thank you.
Emma Calvert, career high 14 rebounds for BYU to go along with those 6 points, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. And Kaylee Wilson, a game high 18 points on 7 of 11 shooting from the field. BYU, once again your winner, 65-50. This has been a presentation of the Big 12 Now on ESPN+. For our sideline reporter, Brett Hammer, fabulous analyst, Kristen Kozlowski, I'm Spencer Linton. Big thanks to every member of our outstanding crew. We'll see you next time for more college hoops.